Imagine this. You're in the dense, humid jungles of Vietnam. You're armed to the teeth with high-tech weaponry, but somehow the locals, armed with bamboo and booby traps, keep outsmarting you at every turn. Welcome to one of history's most ingenious underdog stories. The Vietnam War wasn't just a clash of firepower, it was a battle of wits, where the Vietnamese outmaneuvered one of the world's most powerful militaries. How did they do it? Let's dive into the strategies, the traps, and the sheer genius of guerrilla warfare. Let's set the stage. The United States entered the Vietnam War with overwhelming firepower, B-52 bombers, napalm, helicopters, and advanced weaponry. In contrast, the North Vietnamese Army, NVA, and the Viet Cong were armed with much simpler tools. On paper, this shouldn't have even been a contest. But war isn't fought on paper, it's fought in jungles, villages, and tunnels. And the Vietnamese had something the Americans didn't, a deep understanding of the terrain, centuries of guerrilla tactics, and an unshakable determination to defend their homeland. The Vietnamese didn't just fight the war, they lived it. Their guerrilla tactics turned the natural environment into a battlefield and leveled the playing field. Tunnels of Cu Chi. The Vietnamese created an underground world, a sprawling network of tunnels stretching hundreds of miles. These weren't just hideouts, they were operational bases, complete with living quarters, hospitals, and weapon caches. American soldiers often stumbled across these tunnels, only to find themselves ambushed or lost in a maze of darkness. Hit and run. Tactics. Why fight head-on when you can hit fast and disappear faster? The Viet Cong excelled at quick ambushes, melting back into the jungle before American forces could retaliate. Their intimate knowledge of the terrain made it nearly impossible for US soldiers to track them down. Booby traps, and then there were the booby traps. Oh, the traps. From punji sticks coated in poison to mines disguised as everyday objects, the Vietnamese turned creativity into a deadly art form. Every step through the jungle became a game of, will this kill me? The Vietnamese didn't just aim to wound, they aimed to demoralize. Fear of the jungle. The Americans, unused to Vietnam's dense jungles, faced an enemy that seemed to vanish like ghosts. The fear of unseen threats, snipers, traps, ambushes, took a psychological toll. Nighttime attacks. The Viet Cong often attacked under cover of darkness, when American soldiers were at their most vulnerable. The constant threat of nocturnal raids disrupted sleep and heightened anxiety. One of the most remarkable aspects of the Vietnamese strategy was how they turned simplicity into strength. DIY weapons. With limited resources, the Vietnamese got creative. They repurposed unexploded American bombs into makeshift weapons and built ingenious traps using bamboo, wood, and wire. Resourcefulness with terrain, flooded rice paddies, and dense jungles became natural defenses. While American vehicles and soldiers struggled with the terrain, the Vietnamese navigated it effortlessly. This war wasn't just fought with weapons, it was fought with ideology. The Vietnamese leadership, particularly Ho Chi Minh, rallied the people with a powerful narrative. This wasn't just a war, it was a fight for independence against imperialism. This unity and sense of purpose kept morale high, even in the face of overwhelming odds. Meanwhile, the US was bogged down by a lack of clear objectives and growing anti-war sentiment back home. Despite their technological superiority, the Americans found themselves bogged down in a war they couldn't win. The Vietnamese didn't need to win every battle, they just needed to make the war so costly, so frustrating, that the US would eventually give up. And that's exactly what happened. After years of fighting, massive casualties, and mounting domestic pressure, the US withdrew. The Vietnamese had outsmarted the Americans not just on the battlefield, but strategically and psychologically. The Vietnam War is a testament to the power of determination, ingenuity, and knowing your terrain. It's a reminder that victory isn't always about who has the biggest guns. It's about who knows how to use what they have. So if you're impressed by the creativity of bamboo traps and underground cities, hit that subscribe button, and hey, leave a comment below. Would you survive a walk through the Vietnamese jungle? Because I'd probably trip on a punji stick in the first 5 minutes. Thanks for watching, and remember, history isn't just about the battles fought, it's about the cleverness behind the victory.